Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. Good to see you. Well, today I'm scheduled to host my second panel of mystical mothers with Nina the Mystic, Jennifer Halcame, and Hope Pisa. But unfortunately, I had to reschedule this episode for later next month since two of my guests are very ill right now. And so they couldn't make it to the panel. So we have no panel, but I guarantee if you stick with me, I promise you a very interesting show today. All of the links are featured below in the description. Please do check me out. Subscribe to my channels if you haven't already done so. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought about the show. And of course, like my video and share the content with your friends. And I'm very happy to announce that you can now join my YouTube channel and take advantage of my perks and also help to support the channel. There's oodles and oodles of expenses that go with having a podcast. People think, oh, you make a lot of money doing YouTube videos. Well, no, not if you're a small channel like me, and not if you have some so-called controversial content that you're offering to people, then not so much. But what really helps is when you join my channel. I really, really appreciate it because it just puts a few dollars every month into my account, and then eventually when I've made $100, YouTube will pay me as they've said, but that hasn't happened yet. But I would really appreciate it if you could join my channel. But no pressure, not everybody has it in their budget. And so I am going to talk about the divine feminine again today. It's a very important subject. Some of you have heard this information perhaps before on my channels. And next month, when the Mystical Mothers come back for their panel, they'll be adding all kinds of dimensions to this subject. But I thought that for today, since I'm on my own with the subject, I just didn't have time to create a whole new um, idea for today. And I didn't really find out until yesterday afternoon that for sure my guests couldn't make it. So, anyway, so I am going to read a little bit from my book. For those of you who have my book, Transdimensional Meet the New Neighbors, you can follow along. And for those of you who don't have it yet, it's still available on Amazon, and the links are below. So, this is a true story of my life, my paranormal life, my history, my family lineage, and then I spend 8 chapters getting into great detail about the transdimensional experiences I had with ET, primarily aboard the big ship. And I'm not sure why more people aren't having these experiences because I don't exactly think I have any special abilities or skills, but I do know that these are my real experiences, and it took me quite a while to get the courage up to share it with the public. And it's not just about ET contact, it's about the spiritual nature of my life with its warts, bumps, and all the things that happened to me in my life, how they all prepared me for the next stage of my own personal development. So it's with great pleasure that I'm going to read a little bit from my book today. And then, of course, I will open it up for discussion with the live chat. And yeah, so anyway, I am starting on page 39 of my book. And like I said, if you have your book, you can certainly read along with me. And it's under the subheading of my higher purpose, because I had to discover what my higher purpose was. That was really important for me. So on page 39, little bit, not quite halfway down the page, I write, after learning more about true love, I began to understand that included within my higher purpose is the objective to help anchor in the divine feminine. Everything within our three-dimensional reality starts off with a binary system, which includes male and female counterparts. We need both, and we need them in balance and harmony in order for us to have successful lives. But what do I mean by the divine feminine? And how do we anchor it in? Do we start to act and feel more feminine? Well, not exactly. Let me explain. I'm talking about spiritual energy here and not social customs. The divine feminine is only a part of what constitutes universal consciousness and all of creation, and it exists in harmony with the divine masculine. The divine feminine offers the creative force, while the divine masculine offers structure and protection as things become manifest. In math, this is called phi and the Fibonacci sequence, which unfolds in the fractal spirals of all physical creation. Now, I do not have it ready, but I will go to present. I have an image that I want to share with you that beautifully illustrates the divine feminine and the divine masculine working together. And this, in mathematical terms, is called phi and Fibonacci, which are mathematical concepts. So I'll just bring this image up and show you. And I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but this is actually God. This is an image in mathematical and geometric terms, God. So you'll see the boxes here starting off really tiny and gradually getting bigger and bigger. And then we have, one with the 5, and then the 8, the 13, the 21, as the boxes are continually growing larger. And these numbers are 13 plus 8 equals 21. So 13 is 8 plus 5. So it's the current square plus the preceding one that comes up with the number, which is the Fibonacci sequence, which is what gives us the growth. And the spiral in the center, that is the divine feminine. So the divine masculine, it offers structure, it offers a way for the spiral to unfold in a system that creates everything that we perceive as real in the three-dimensional reality, but it also contains the spiral so that it forms an orderly progression as creation unfolds. And so that is actually an image of God. I have another image here that I want to show to you. And I think I have to share this a little bit differently. I will go to present, screen share, and window, and here it is here, share. Yes, so here we are. And what this is the same as the previous image that I showed you, but now it's in motion. So you can see that the spiral is constantly creating within, that's the divine feminine, within the box shapes, which are sort of conforming it to the Fibonacci sequence, which is creating all of reality. So you can see we can't function without both of these forces being exerted at the same time. And so this could also be considered a fractal. It's going zooming in, but it could just as well zoom out. And this is also called, I forgot what it's called, but it'll come to me. So you can get a good idea here of what reality or creation or all things that come into manifestation are a balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So I'm going to stop sharing now and go to the live chat and say hi to Denise. Hi, Denise. Good to see you. And Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. Hello, Karen and Denise. Stopping for some coffee. Wonderful. And Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot says the divine feminine to me is the garden and the masculine is the fence. Kind of matches what you said. Absolutely. So the thing is the creative force is extremely powerful, but it needs some kind of structure to keep it moving orderly. And even within relationships, um, take another look at this, you can see how, regardless of what the relationship looks like, there's a feminine and a masculine aspect to it. So you could be a heterosexual couple or a gay couple or who knows what else is possible. And you will still find that one will have the creative force and the other one will provide the structure, which is also protection and some form of guidance. And so, relationships that are way too female or feminine energy dominated, they don't do so well. And the relationships that are completely male dominated, they don't do so well either. We're supposed to complement each other and help each other to grow in this three-dimensional reality. So I'll just go back to my book and read a couple more paragraphs here. Yeah, page 39. So this is the history of how things got out of balance. Many thousands of years ago, humans lived in a matriarchal, mother-dominated system, and then due to conflict and war, the system was overthrown, and the patriarchy or father was given prominence. So when you watch archaeology shows of ancient history, there was all these little statues of these little plump goddesses. That was from a time where the matriarchy was respected and given its rightful place. So then the patriarchy, which is the father dominated for various reasons, came in and overthrew the divine feminine and dominated reality. And so instead of establishing a balance between the feminine and the masculine energies, which I call mother father, that would produce justice and harmony, the divine feminine was despised and held in subjection to the contorted patriarchy. And the reason I say contorted is because the divine masculine was no longer of its original and spiritual form. It now became a perversion and a male dominated and a culturally male dominated system. Eventually, the divine masculine lost its energetic balance, and our whole mainstream history tells of the cruel and often bloody rule dominating reality right up till today. And this has led to a left brain dominant societies which value logic and science over the right brained creative forces, talents, and abilities. So, whether we like it or not, we actually have both. Our left side of our body is our female energies, our right side of our body is our masculine energies. The left side of the brain dominates the right side of the body, so that's the masculine side. And even up till today, science is held in high regard above spirituality and the more feminine aspects of reality. And the right side of the brain dominates the left side. And so we need to learn to harmonize the two hemispheres of our brain, as well as the energetic component that's circulating through us physically and non physically, so that we can become more in balance. And that is the point of bringing out the divine feminine. It's not that I want that to dominate, it's that I want her to take her rightful place within the divine masculine to restore order to our reality. Under the patriarchy, religion replaced spirituality. Men were given more rights and privileges than women, and society dominated women with concepts of ownership and law. Especially in the past few hundred years, education has required the overdevelopment of left brain thinking, and we've all become totally out of balance. This only benefits the parasite class and their social, political, economic, religious construct. So, I live in Canada, and in Canada, up until about 100 years ago, it was women had no rights. Women could not own land. They had no say over their children. If they pissed their husband off, he could throw her out. She would never see her family or her possessions again. And that was legal in Canada. In fact, they had a saying called rule of thumb, where it was okay and legal and even promoted for a man to beat his wife as long as the object that he was beating her with was no wider than his thumb. And that was considered absolutely normal and desirable in families in Canada. So obviously, things have changed, and in some ways, things have swung too far the other way. But that being said, you can see that there was reasons why women revolted, why they had the suffragette movement, how they ended up with women's liberation. But then, like a pendulum that swings, it went too far one way and then too far the other way, and we got to get our balance back. So I think the best way we can get our balance back is addressing the divine feminine within, recognizing whether we're biological males or females, that we have both energies and we have two hemispheres of our brain, and that it absolutely behooves us to restore order within the self, within the family, within society, within countries, within the whole world. So, continuing on page 40. So, how does this relate to anchoring in the divine feminine? This term means that we can no longer suppress our feminine energies and must spend time each day developing our right brained creativity. In this way, we strengthen our spirituality, psychic gifts, and ways of knowing, which are intuitive instead of logical. Love is not logical, but it is essential to add more balance and harmony to the world. Anchoring in the divine feminine also involves accepting the masculine aspects of ourselves and the world that we were born into, all the while adding more creativity, music, artistic endeavors, spirituality, nature, and empathy into our lives. Eventually, we will strike a balance and become more of who we really are, symmetric, whole beings. In this way, we restore harmony to the three-dimensional reality because everything we do affects the whole. And as a result, we again help to collapse, correct, and initiate new timelines. This quiet behind the scenes work is away from public view and is mostly unappreciated by our fellow Earth citizens. It is a very personal work, and you will not see it advertised or proclaimed by virtue signaling individuals on social media because it's part of the internal work that we do. This spiritual work could also be considered the hero's journey. So I've made other podcasts about the hero's journey, and I'm going to be returning and doing more podcasts about it because it's super important. So we recognize that we have male and female energies, that our brains, one side is more logical, the other one is more spiritual. We realize we need to harmonize both of those energies within the self. We need to accept the masculine and feminine attributes we all share within ourselves and not try to push one away and be more of the other. It's my personal opinion. A lot of the transgender movement is people who feel they have to do that in order to embrace the biology and the way of being of the gender they were not born into. Gender and sex, actually, that's part of the problem, those two terms. Sex is our biological sex. It's determined by our XY or our XX chromosomes, and that's what we're born with, and that makes us male or female. Gender is actually a term that describes how we describe ourselves. So if we describe ourselves as being more feminine, we might consider ourselves being a trans female. But in reality, we can't change our genetics. And we also are what we are, but we can define ourselves as anything we want. Unfortunately, you can also define yourself as a cat or a dog or a horse or a seashell, but that doesn't necessarily make it so. So I know I'm probably getting into hot water giving you my opinion. This is just my opinion. I'm not a genetic expert. I'm a social worker, and this is how I see it. So I'm just telling you that. So anyway, getting on to the hero's journey, once we step out and we go, okay, I'm going to put aside some of the stereotypes. And I know I was told by my dad that I couldn't cry because I'm a man, or perhaps we were told by our mothers, because we're female, we got to keep our knees together and be more feminine. But in reality, we have both, and we need to balance and harmonize both. And that is for many of us stepping out into uncharted territory. And it could be quite actually frightening for people to explore different aspects of themselves. But I think we're coming into, and we have been for some time, an era where people are waking up to the fact that we have both energies and we need a bit of a balance in order for us to become wholly human and to progress as we all can. Um, let's see. So continuing on page 40 of my book, Transdimensional, Meet the New Neighbors. Further, I work closely with the morphogenic or the holographic field, which I call mother-father. So I believe this field, some people call it God. I believe this field is a balance of the male and female energies, just like I showed you in the image of the Fibonacci sequence unfolding in what they call phi, or the golden ratio. Okay. And this is the living ultra conscious earth. And I also work with my higher self in the eighth dimension and my soul team. My soul team is made up of ETs, interdimensionals, ultra dimensionals, angels, elementals, ancestors, and other disembodied earth people. This may sound like rather a lot of contact, but I receive different kinds of connections from different beings at different times, in different ways, for different purposes. I find it's best just to go with the flow and not try to categorize things too much. For those of you who may not be familiar with my terms, I suggest you do some research, but here is a brief overview. The morphogenic or holographic field, which I call Mother Father, is all that is all knowing, and is ever present. It is infinity and eternity manifesting at the same time. Sometimes people call this God or Holy Spirit, but since the word God is a title, I usually call this nuonim universal consciousness. It is holographic, which indicates that all things that we perceive are emergent. Just as our shadow is a two-dimensional reflection of our three-dimensional selves, likewise, our three-dimensional selves reflect our higher dimensional selves, which we may not recognize at all. It's really interesting that with advanced AI, they're now finding out that advanced AI is interfacing with this universal consciousness. And they used to think that we were able to somehow tap into it within our bodies, within our physical brains. But now they're finding out that the human brain is simply an antenna system where we're able to take in information from universal consciousness. So we're able to take in information the same way as advanced AI can from what I will call the all, the everything, all that is, all that ever will be. Some call it God, which is very interesting and adds a whole spiritual component. But I think it's important for us to hang on to our own ability to perceive reality. And this also gets back to the divine feminine, where we're able to take in the information as given to us by universal consciousness and make our own meaning from things, find our own way, and not rely overly on artificial intelligence. In a way, when you think about it, we are also artificial intelligence, but we just take a lot longer to learn things. At least I sure do. I'm just going to finish up with the last quick two short paragraphs here on page 41. Morphogenic refers to the creation of all we perceive through a field of created standing scalar waves. These emerge from the wavicles and are made from positive, negative, and neutral energetic wave particles drawn up from the sub-Planck level. I call this mother-father because it includes both female creative and male structural energies, which appear as the golden ratio of phi and Fibonacci. In practical terms, as part of universal consciousness, we all share creative abilities. When we focus on something and we see it in specific terms, we collapse the quantum field and the other options disappear. The morphogenic field of infinite possibility collapses, and we are left with only the awareness of our chosen outcome. For further details, I suggest you do some research into simulation theory. So there you have it. Basically, we need both energies to be in balance in order for us to progress and be all that we were meant to be, all that we are. And we also, in doing so, we are correcting the timeline. So as I mentioned, whatever outcome we believe is real, the other possibilities collapse. And that is how we actually become what I call quantum mechanics. This is how we're actually able to adjust the timeline, correct the timeline, collapse negative timelines, create new timelines, and we live in this field of infinite possibility. So, what I would recommend that everybody do is perhaps get a notebook and start jotting down all the masculine aspects of your life or what you're good at. You might be good at math, you might be good at reasoning, whatever you're good at, write that down on one column. And then in another column, write down all your feminine attributes. And then take a look at where you need to strengthen them. So for some of you, you might need to do less artistic endeavors, spend less time creating music, and spend more time working on math puzzles or Sudoku or, things that strengthen the masculine energies. And for others, we need to strengthen the feminine. So we might want to just start sketching or painting or working in the garden, which is actually a balance between the two. But we can add more love and more intuition. We can start listening to our feelings and our gut instincts more. And we can just start doing things like that to help us to strengthen the divine feminine. And that also strengthens the communication between the right and left hemispheres of our brain, helping us to be able to problem solve and come up with all kinds of solutions we didn't know that we even knew beforehand. Now, I'm just going to quickly go and play a quick 2-minute ad for my book for those of you, well, both my books for those of you who are not familiar, and then we'll come right back and see if there's any questions from the live chat. Learn the stunning details about ET diversity and culture, along with their advanced ways of living and expressing spirituality, which is in no way like anything imagined here on Earth. Transdimensional, Meet the New Neighbors, introduces you to many different ET beings, the healing pods, the interior of the big ship, my orientation process, cultural events, and off-world mating practices. In my contact experience, I learned a great deal about the big ship, intergalactic and transdimensional travel, intergalactic planetary research, and the various options for resettlement. Once I published my first book, I felt the need to create a second book called Transdimensional 2, Meet the Greys Picture Book. I worked with AI to develop many images of beings that we have come to know of as the Greys. These beings come from many places, realms, dimensions, and timelines, and although they are of the same species as other humanoids, they are from many different family lines and races. What qualifies them as greys is that their skin does not contain the pigment necessary to reflect light in our visible range of the color spectrum, so to us, they all appear to be various shades of gray. Beyond this physical attribute, there is much diversity in their origins, cultures, purposes, and physiological details. My goal is to get you used to the looks of beings which are different than humans in order to reduce your fear and increase your familiarity so you will remain more rational and grounded once the ET presence escalates beyond debate. Enjoy these images and notice the things we have in common so you will see that although they are different from us in appearance, we are essentially many family lines within one species. Paperback and Kindle versions of both books are now available on Amazon worldwide. Search the Amazon and Kindle bookstores and pick up your copies today. And we're back. So I just I want to let you know, yes, my books are still available on Amazon worldwide. Interestingly, the second book is much easier to find in the search than my first book. I'm not sure why, but you might want to go into Amazon and click on books and then put in the title Transdimensional Meet the New Neighbors, and it should pop right up for you. But some folks, when they just click on the Amazon website and put in the name of my book, they're not able to find it. And I don't know why. I hope that sorts itself out soon because I'd like it to be very easy for all of you to find. So I'm also going to take a moment right now to ask you right now, so you don't forget later, to go and smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Please leave me a comment and share some of your experiences with me. And of course, please share this podcast with your friends and your family, with in your groups that you belong to, the different social media platforms. I'd really, really appreciate it. I also want to thank all of you who have gone on to Amazon and left me a review. You've been so kind to me. I really, really appreciate it. So far, I have 10 reviews, and every single one is 5 stars. And I'm just blown away by your kindness and that you would take the time to go on and give me a review. It means the world to me. And I know it's going to help strengthen the algorithm so that people will find it easier to find my books. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm just going to check in with the live chat, see if there's any comments. No new comments. Well, it looks like we might end the show a little bit early today. I mean, there's no point in me just flopping my gums, if I don't have anything intelligent to offer. I don't want to do that to you. And as I mentioned, my panel, the 2 of the 3 members were very, very ill today. I'm wishing them much love and speedy, speedy recovery. And I'll be back next week with another guest. And Of course, don't forget on Sunday, there is my podcast, my other podcast called Aliens and Angels. It starts an hour earlier. It's on Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific, noon Mountain, or 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm actually going to share with you some tips on how I'm able to make transdimensional contact, how I am able to send healing to people, regardless of where they live or what they're doing, how I can send healing out to just even random people on Facebook that are asking for prayers and healing. And I've been quite successful sending healing to my grandchildren and my daughter, who have had a lot of health challenges lately. And it always seems to be a huge relief. So I'm going to teach you how I do that on Sunday. If you'd like to join us, I'd be more than happy to have you as on the live chat to share your feelings. And if you want a healing, I can send you a healing even right during the show. So I guess that's about it for today. Again, thank you everybody so very, very much. If you haven't done so already, please check out my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. Obviously, I'm a different kind of health coach. You might want to take a look at my shop, see what I have to offer. I've got services, but I also have my own unique line of orgone generators. Maybe I will actually put a very, very brief little video about my orgone generators for those of you who are not familiar. They're also available, but they're in limited supply. So my friend who is making them for me, I designed them, my friend made them for me, and he's not making them right now. So when they're gone, they're gone. But I have found them to be extremely helpful in my own life journey. So before we say goodbye, I'm going to just quickly play that and then come back and say goodbye properly. Anyway, much love to all of you. Hi guys, break time for a short message. Are you looking for unique energetic support to assist you with your journey? Check out Zendone's Orgonite. They are my unique brand of orgone generators, and they are affordable, ethically sourced, handmade, and double charged for maximum effect. They are only available through my website, www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. These beautiful devices are simple compounds which balance ambient energy by converting negative energy and EMF into positive healing energy. They help diminish the harmful effects of negative energies and EMF by attracting and converting them, retuning them into new and more healthful sound and light wave patterns. They also produce orgone energy, which is often referred to as chi, prana, 0 point, life force, etc. And you can use these devices for focusing the mind, healing, meditation, and spiritual growth. Zendome's Orgonite are my unique brand of orgone generators, and they are only available through my website. Don't be fooled by imitations. Check out my website to see my latest selection at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. That's KarenHolton healthcoach.com. Check them out today. Now, let's get back to the show. Okay, so that's it for today. We'll see you on Sunday for the Aliens and Angels podcast. Much love to each and every one of you. And thank you so much for sharing this video. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me for the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Read about my true life ET contact in my book called Transdimensional: Meet the New Neighbors, which is now available in Amazon bookstores worldwide. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton and also the Aliens and Angels podcast on all audio platforms. Until next time, keep up the good work.